story of how doctors are not gods. Doctors make mistakes, but their mistakes can cost too much. Like for this family, our Nora was born prematurely, at 26 weeks. She was so tiny, and the doctors didn't know if they could save her or not. But she was alive, screaming and wanting to live. Preeclampsia is what happened to us and why we had to have an emergency C-section. The mother's high blood pressure was dangerous. It could have been fatal for both mother and baby. She was urgently placed in an incubator, where Nora stayed for several more months. Everything seemed to be fine. Our baby was safe, alive and healthy, developing normally. But one day one mistake forever changed our life and Nora's life. One day a terrible thing happened. After an examination, the doctor quickly said something to the nurse, and Nora was taken away for surgery. The little girl had part of her intestine removed. It's good that the problem was noticed in time, but they used to feed her my milk 1 drop at a time. Now we couldn't do that either. She had to change her entire feeding regimen because of the surgery. She was covered in tubes and catheters, so small but so strong. After a while the stoma was removed and we were told we could go home. What a joy it was to go home with our little girl. It was very difficult to feed her. She hardly absorbed any milk. We were taking 20 diapers a day. And her central line was preventing her from developing normally. She had another surgery. Our Nora is so smiley. She was 7 months old, but she seemed to understand everything, looking at us with love and tenderness. This little girl was going to have surgery so that she could eat and grow without any problems, and so that she would not be developmentally delayed. We were with her before the surgery, and she played with the surgeon while he told us about the operation. The doctors made a mistake in determining her blood sugar level. They gave her the wrong medication for 3 hours until she had several seizures. She was given saline and eat dextrose. She was put into a medically induced coma to save her brain. They didn't bring her out of the coma until the 10th day, but the seizures continued. Her brain was already damaged. So before the surgery, we didn't have much of a problem. But afterwards, we got a child with metabolic brain injury, epilepsy, spasms, loss of social interaction. Would she have friends? Will she be able to be like other children? What can we do to help her? How should we behave? Will we be able to do anything for her? Our child became disabled in 1 day, in 3 hours. After a while, I talked to my cousin. He's a teacher. I asked him to teach children not to be afraid, not to hurt people like Nora. Children who are unusual, who are sick with Down syndrome, autism, other problems and birth defects. And that's when we started the Nora's Friends project. We teach other children to be friends with them, to empathize, to understand, and not to see them as outcasts, problem children. We teach them love and support. Several years have passed since then. Our Nora is growing up. We work with her. She goes to doctors and psychologists. We seem to have learned how to communicate with her. She is, of course, not a child like the others. But she has her own favorite games and toys, her own preferences she's trying, I know. Yes, the doctors made a terrible mistake by not checking her sugar levels. But we're learning to live with her, just the way she is. We want Nora to have a brother or sister, but my preeclampsia is likely to happen again. So we're going to use a surrogate.